Welcome to the first episode of Love for the Game Live. It is week 0. College football is officially back. Here with me tonight, the guests on the show tonight, AT of Tampa 2 College Football and Mike of More College Football. Gentlemen, how are we doing? It is finally time. We are back. You can feel it in the air. You can feel it in the breeze. College football finally around the corner. It is game week. About time.
As much as some people try to mess up our great sport, on Saturday we spot the ball. It's a beautiful thing.
Daggone right. You know, if anything, we know we're going to get some college football this weekend, and that's what it's all about. You know, you got all this off-season litigation and nonsense, and it's never going to stop. But one thing that will always be here is they're going to line up and they're going to play 11v11. So can't wait.
Damn right. So similar to what we did last year here on the program with College Football Chatter and College Football Preview on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Same time, same place. We're going to be here on YouTube, Twitter. We are also on Mike's Twitter and AT's YouTube as we speak. So shout out to those programs as well. We'll be here Tuesdays and Thursdays, 8 p.m. Eastern. We are now also going to introduce call-ins. So people that are watching live, there's a link on my Twitter profile. You are able to click the link, call into the show, give your thoughts and opinions on whatever the topic is at hand. But of course, tonight is a full week 0 preview. We will be giving picks, previewing all 8 week 0 games. But gentlemen, before we preview that, we have to talk about the obvious elephant in the room, that ball is back. Ball is back. You know, we've made it to the mountaintop. We've made it. And for me personally, I've needed it, especially after recent events that have happened in my life. I need it more than anything right now. And I don't know about you boys, but we have made it after a grueling 6-month hiatus over the summer. You know, baseball is cool. Basketball is cool. You know, good job for the WNBA putting out a product out there. But, you know, ball is back at the end of the day, and we have finally made it. And, you know, the greatest sport in the world is back. Some would say on Thursday, but I think it's back on Saturday.
All the above. I mean, I don't remember a week 0 this loaded, and it might be the final official week 0. So let's soak it up. Let's enjoy it.
It's true.
No doubt. I mean, you got freaking from the moment I wake up and college game day's on or whatever we got, you know, I'm going to be watching it all day. And yeah, it's a loaded slate. It really is. So,
I mean, personally, and we'll announce it again in a second if no one was able to see the post last week. But, you know, we get to go to games again. And this time we have the privilege of having the opportunity to go to games as media members, as credentialed members of the public, of the media. And for me personally, I am ecstatic for this, especially for only having done this show for a little over a year, to have the opportunity to join my fellow colleagues and people that just love talking ball on a week-to-week basis is something I never thought would happen. So the fact that we get the opportunity to go to a handful of games throughout the season, I'm ecstatic for. And just going back to college football games in general, you know, no matter if you're just going as a fan, you know, throughout the tailgating scene, you know, I know for Mike and I being Penn State guys, walking through the tailgate scene in State College is a one-of-one experience. And I can't wait to experience that in a said location that we will announce in a second. But I can't wait to just be on a college campus getting ready for a college football game.
yeah, I agree. And like you said, honestly, going to a game, having media credentials feels like a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It feels like something that I would really only be able to do once. And, I mean, the fact that we got multiple games that it's a possibility for this year is crazy. And I haven't even been doing this for a full year yet. So, I mean, the sky's the limit. This is going to be a lot of fun. And, I mean, this is why we started doing this, or this is why I started doing this, for these opportunities to go watch a game on the field, you know, right there.
Yeah.
I mean, you literally cannot wait. Freaking pumped.
And Reed, you mentioned the Penn State tailgates. I could just smell the cow pastures already.
Don't even get me started. That's literally the only experience. That's what makes it the best experience. You know, you get cow farms literally 5 feet away from your tailgate scene where you're pounding beers and having hot dogs and burgers and everything. Oh my gosh, bro.
Second to none.
Second to none.
South for being redneck. I didn't even know this. There's a cow farm sitting right outside of Penn State here.
We'll need to educate you this weekend.
Yeah, I guess so.
Hey, some would say we'll be making a stop or 2 or 3 on the tour this year. So who knows? Some would say we might even experience the whiteout. You know, allegedly. Allegedly. Who
You
knows
and
that?
Pablo Escobar.
Hey, bro, we're not. Hey, whatever happens off the field,
Y'all seen
For the
that,
university-
though, right? Y'all seen that guy that got, he's Pablo Escobar. He was at Penn
Bro.
State for selling drugs. It's crazy.
yeah, and everyone's saying it's the true meaning of the whiteout. Whatever, AT, bro. Before we move on and actually start breaking down games and talking true ball, I need to know probably what some would say is your boldest take, your hottest take. I need to know one thing that you are standing on this college football season, without a doubt, that you haven't seen a lot of people stand on business, as we like to call it on the show. So something, that a lot of people aren't really backing, potentially your hottest take, your boldest prediction, whatever it may be. Mike, let me start with you.
Putting me on the spot.
Yeah,
So I don't know
rapid
if
fire, right on the
I don't know if
spot.
this is the boldest, but I'll say the Final Four has 4 coaches that have never won a national championship.
That's crazy. So you're eliminating Kirby.
That's crazy. That's insane. I feel like that would be awesome. I would love that. That just seems hard to do right now with Kirby, Ryan Day,
Cignetti.
Yeah, no Dabo either. That's insane, but it would be pretty cool, to be honest.
That's my bold take. I'm revealing my playoff in a couple days, but yeah, no Kirby, no Cignetti, no Ryan Day.
Okay.
Only in the year of our Lord 2026 that happened. AT.
This is, I got a couple. I'm going to stick to my home here because I feel like we've been getting a lot of slack in the media. So I'm going to stick with my dogs. We're minimum going 6-6 this season, and yes, I'm biased and everything, but I feel like everybody's been just jumping down their throats when, I think we have a really good chance to get a couple teams that aren't really looking for us this season. So, and yeah, that's a lot of that's a lot of us. So obviously I'm biased, but I really do feel like the dogs are going to have it together this season. So.
That would make one of us. I guess mine would have to be, probably my boldest that I've put out on social so far, and that would be A&M either goes 7-5 or 6-6 and completely implodes. I just am not believing in Texas A&M this year. The schedule's harder. Trenches, I have a bunch of questions about. So it's nothing against Mike Elko. Love him as a coach. I think the coordinator changes will have a bigger impact than what people think. And teams like Kansas State will benefit from that. So I think I'm gonna go Texas A&M to go 500, 7-5, and miss the playoff.
It's pretty
bold.
warm.
Pretty bold.
All right, but without further ado, we have to talk about what really matters, and that is actual live football games. Now, for those of you who did not see the post that I put out last week, and again, as we prefaced a few moments ago, we have the distinct privilege of going to a college football game as credentialed media members, one of the first times on the program. And of course, I had to get my guys on the show that I'm joining with on this trip. AT and Mike are going to be joining me down in Charlottesville as we talk about NC State and Virginia. My first time to Charlottesville for a football game. I've been for basketball, but I haven't had the opportunity to go for football games. It's my first time to see Scott Stadium in Charlottesville, experience it on a game day, and I'm excited to do it with you boys.
Heck yeah.
I
can't wait. The fact we're getting the P4 game, the big P4 game in Charlottesville this weekend is crazy to me. We'll talk about it. I'm sure we're going to do a little breakdown and all that. But CJ Bailey, getting to watch CJ Bailey live after I've been hyping him up all season, I just, can't wait. And never been to Charlottesville, so looking for things to do if anybody's got some tips for sure.
Just making sure you guys canceled your flights to Rio de Janeiro, right?
That's right, yeah.
You would have to catch me dead before I step foot in Brazil, I think.
But,
especially for a college football game. Like, there's no way I'm going overseas unless the college are playing.
Common sense prevailed. We're playing the game on campus the way it should be.
The way it should be. And again, as it should be, we will be prefacing this game first, of course, as we will be attending it in person. So, boys, it is time to officially start talking college football. And, of course, where to begin? Then NC State at Virginia. We get an ACC matchup to open up the season. This is a 3:30 kick. I believe it's on ESPN. UVA is a slight 5.5-point favorite. Over under set at 53.5. Gentlemen, I think this has potential to be the best game of the day. I'm just going to say that straight up, in my opinion. I love the quarterback battle in this game, but AT, I'm going to get your thoughts first because you are a massive NC State believer, supporter this season. I don't know if you're a closet NC State fan, but you love yourself some CJ Bailey. So I'm going to let you talk about the Wolfpack first.
I do. I mean, I can easily talk about the Wolfpack. You know, I really like Dave Doran. I think he's done a really good job over there. I mean, this is his. That in the last 6 seasons, they've had 5 8-win seasons, which is just, you know, doesn't sound like a crazy thing, but when you're at NC State, that's a huge deal. That means you're playing good teams and coming out on top more often than not, you know. So he's got them in the right spot. Obviously, I feel like he's in a good space too, where he's not really getting a ton of outside looks. I feel like people don't really talk about him for the hiring search. So, you know, NC State's kind of got them a good guy that I feel like will be there for a while. You know, we know last year had some struggles on defense, but it's mainly because of injury. I mean, they got smoked early in the season on injury and stuff. And CJ Bailey is absolutely outstanding. I think a lot of people talk about him as like a running quarterback. They say he's Lenore Sellers 2.0 and just a pure runner type guy. But, you know, he threw for over 3,100 yards last year, 25 TDs and 9 interceptions. So he can hit the deep ball. The thing he's got to work on is like the timing on the quick passes, you know, being a little bit faster, that kind of stuff. So, I really like this NC State team. I know they lose Hollywood Smothers, which was a huge loss. He was the ACC leading rusher, but you know, I watched Duke Scott twice, you know, play twice last year, and that dude is a dog. He put up 196 rushing yards on Georgia Tech, who is obviously, you know, they can defend the run. That's all they do in practice. So I really like this team. You know, they did lose a couple key wide receivers, but they tried to, you know, replace them. I think defense is going to be the biggest worry, but they did add some good linebackers and get some guys back from injury. So, you know, just trying to keep it short and sweet on them. I got a lot to say about them, obviously, but I think they're going to be a good team and really, really excited to watch them play and really, really excited to watch CJ Bailey get started this year.
Definitely. Mike, first initial thoughts on this matchup?
Where do I start? First off, the 1400th game in Virginia football history. So there's your stat of the day.
Oh, so we're going to be part of history.
That's cool.
We will be part of history.
Nice.
Love the quarterback matchup. Highlighted CJ Bailey, but on the other side, Chandler Morris is gone. In comes the Bo Pribula experience. I did hear, I think, some other programs that shall not be named referencing him as Bo Pribula. Get the name right. It's Bo Pribula. Pribula. So excited to see him play. I just love the quarterback matchup. You know, offensive line, I think, was one of the biggest reasons for Virginia's success last year to get to 11 wins. Tony Elliott found some veteran gems in the portal last year. He's trying to replicate that this year. On the NC State side, I know Hollywood Smothers is gone. I really think they have a good one in Duke Scott. He was impressive in a couple starts last year, and I think, you know, while you don't want to lose the Hollywood Smothers, I think Duke Scott's going to fit in, you know, just nicely. I think we have a ball game here. There's so much that intrigues me. Two teams that, you know, the winner coming out of this one kind of positions themselves as maybe like that second, you know, team or so in the ACC race. Both schedules are manageable, you know, for here on out for both programs. So just jazzed to watch it and be on the sideline for it.
No doubt.
Yeah, biggest thing, and both of you mentioned it, is the quarterback battle in this game. Potentially the best quarterback battle of the entire day. CJ Bailey against Bo Pribula. To AT's point, CJ Bailey has true upside of being a potential first-round pick in the draft next year, just so because the dude is 6'6", 230, and has a rifle of an arm. I mean, the dude threw for over 3,100 yards and 31 touchdowns last year. So if he can come out of the gates firing for an NC State team, which is replacing a ton of weapons around him from what was lost last year, like Hollywood Smothers, Terrell Anderson going to USC. But you could say the same thing on Virginia's side. There was all ACC receiver Terrell Harris going to Oklahoma. So they bring in Jaquale Middlebrook from Middle Tennessee State, who was a over 800-yard rusher for them last year. So this Virginia and NC State team are both looking at weaponry around the quarterbacks that I think could have a bigger impact. And, you know, they may not get out of the gate fast, which kind of leads me to believe that this game could start slow. I could see like a 7-0, 7-7 game at halftime. And we're looking at both teams like who's going to make the better adjustments, which coaching staff do we trust in more at the end of the day when we get to halftime. Again, the line is set at 5.5. My predictive model views Virginia as a slighter favorite, -4. So the LFTG Performance Index likes NC State here. AT, if you have to give a pick now, who are you going to go with?
Yeah, and a couple of things I do want to say about Virginia just before I get to the pick. This is a team last year, they called them the cardiac calves because they just kept coming back in some late games. Really like Tony Elliott. I know Mike touched on him. Crazy, he won 11 games in his first 3 seasons, and then last year won 11 games in 1 season. I mean, just has really done a turnaround. Really found a lot of talent in the portal, which is kind of where he's kind of made his bread and butter, I guess. I really like Bo Pribula. Is that how we say it? Pribula?
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Nice.
Cool. So, obviously the quarterback matchup is going to be awesome. One thing that sucks is Cam Robinson had an ACL injury. He was a guy that was on track to be really the ACC Defensive Player of the Year last year. And it's unknown if he's back for this game or not. So it would be awesome if he's back. He's kind of a game time decision. Would really like to see him on the defensive side. But other than that, it's going to be a heck of a matchup. Same thing with my model read. It's got Virginia as a slight favorite, looking at 4 points. I think this is going to be a game where Virginia is the team that can methodically drive down the field, a bunch of drives. They're going to stall out some, but they'll have long, sustained drives. I think that they'll score a lot of touchdowns. I think NC State's kind of the flip of that, where they're going to score off of explosive type plays, is what it seems like to me, just the way their offenses line up, which I think is going to hurt them in situations where they might not be able to finish in the red zone. So got NC State kicking a lot of field goals, Virginia scoring more touchdowns. I got Virginia going 28, NC State going 25 for the final.
Mike?
So NC State's defense was disappointing last year. They couldn't get sacks. They gave up a lot of explosive plays. Now you're facing a dual threat mobile quarterback in Bo Pribula. If this were mid-late season, I think I'd be very concerned about that matchup. But it's not week 6. It's not week 9. It's week 0. I think there's going to be an element of Virginia shaking off some cobwebs and getting adjusted with a new quarterback and a new offense. Whereas you have CJ Bailey, he's a veteran. He knows NC State. He knows that offense. The last time Virginia beat NC State was in 2012. Dave Doran has never lost to Virginia, and he's not going to lose to Virginia on Saturday. Give me NC State to win outright.
Love it. Honestly, I don't
I like it.
For going to Virginia. They're hosting us. They're being very nice to us. Wouldn't hate it at all.
Hey, I wouldn't announce it in person there. I wouldn't go around the student faithful and be like, oh, well, NC State money line, especially when you're getting it at plus money.
To clarify, no rooting interest, no betting interest. Just
no.
Oh yeah. We know. Yeah. Just
I also want to preface that none of us are professional cappers, so this is not betting advice at all. This is just our professional opinion.
Yeah, that's true.
For me personally, and I put this out on the Red Zone Live show with Jake the other day, that I think Virginia wins. I don't know if I'm there with 5.5 though, especially with my predictive model has a shorter line. AT has a shorter line. Punt and Rally, which I highly recommend you check out as a resource. Also a friend of the program, has a shorter line at 3.5. So everywhere you look, I've even seen people publicly put out there that they're taking NC State money line along with Mike. So I think Virginia wins the game, but if I had to pick something here, I would take NC State with the points in 5.5. I don't know if you're seeing Virginia win by a touchdown or more. I project a 28-26 final. Virginia wins. So again, I think this is going to be a tightly contested game. Again, biggest thing for me is if CJ Bailey can stand out against that Virginia defense, who was a very good above average defense last year, and how that plays out in this game. So I like NC State to cover, but I think the Cavaliers go 1-0 and surprise the home faithful, get off to a good start the season and start the season 1-0.
I like it. Also, I did want to note, when I was doing some research on NC State, I found that they have a true freshman receiver, Tyreek Cooper, that had over 2,000 receiving yards last year in high school. So would be pretty cool to watch him go nuts as a true freshman. I just keep an eye out for Tyreek Cooper this Saturday. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, maybe one to watch, going
Maybe
forward this season, especially with the question marks around their weaponry around CJ Bailey. That maybe. Hey,
when I heard 2,000 receiving yards, I was like, "Do what?"
in high school? Yeah,
and,
that's crazy.
it's in high school still, but I was like, "Golly, man, that's insane." So,
for sure, that's insane. But moving on to the very first game at the FBS level in the college football season, across the pond to the great country of Ireland, we have the North Carolina Tar Heels rematching against the TCU Horned Frogs. This was a game played in week 1 last year. If you famously remember, it was Bill Belichick's first game for the Tar Heels. And in classic fashion, they imploded horrifically. They went down, scored on their very first drive, and then from there, it was a cakewalk for TCU. I think the final score was a lot to a little. I think North Carolina only scored that one touchdown. That was it. So, North Carolina against TCU in Ireland. TCU is currently a 7.5 point favorite on Onyx odds. Over under set at 47.5, and the LFTG Performance Index is aligned with that. Also has TCU minus 7.5. Mike, I will start with you here. Classic Ireland game. Under seems to be really popular, especially with the weather. Always a question mark over there. But what are your first thoughts on the Tar Heels and the Horned Frogs?
I'm just intrigued by the Bobby Petrino, Bill Belichick marriage that debut in Ireland. That's incredible. Billy Edwards Jr. comes over from Wisconsin. His season last year ended really before it began. Like the fit with a Petrino offense and Petrino just adjusting schemes to fit his quarterback's strengths, and intrigued to see what Billy Edwards Jr. can do, like wide receiver Jordan Shipp. They have a stud running back and Demon June, a Doak Walker Award on the preseason watch list. That said, last year TCU outgained North Carolina 542 to 222 yards. They just blew the doors off them, 41 straight points. Now there's turnover from that team. The one guy that I am just thrilled to be watching, the Harvard quarterback transfer, Jaden Craig. He comes in. I think he could be this year's Trinidad Chambliss, and not comparing the talent, but in that it's a guy that is just going to absolutely explode onto the scene. So a lot of intriguing pieces. Won't reveal my pick yet, but just what a game to kick off the season.
Yeah, I totally agree. Obviously hate that it's being played overseas. Would love it to be on campus, but I'm glad that we get it early in the morning, that we can kick off the day with two P4 opponents going at each other. It's going to be a heck of a game. I feel a lot of the same. I honestly echo a lot of the same points you made, Mike. Don't know a ton about what Billy Edwards Jr. is going to do there, but I think it's exciting to have him and Bill Belichick and their offense. I think, and it sounds like he was in a really tight quarterback battle, so it seems like they got a lot of faith in the guy coming through. So, they repped the hell out of him from what I can tell in the offseason. So getting him prepared here. So I do think we're going to be surprised by him. Same thing with Jaden Craig, though, at TCU. I think Sonny Dykes and him are going to roll. Obviously, Sonny Dykes made some crazy comments about Josh Hoover on the way out, so he seems like he's pumped about this anyways. I'm not going to give my, total score line or anything yet, but I do feel like, we'll probably see a repeat or something similar of what happened last year, just to give a little teaser, I guess. So,
see, I'm also feeling that same sentiment, especially because I give TCU a very, I don't want to say very sizable, let's say a good edge at the quarterback position. I fully believe in Jaden Craig more right now than Billy Edwards Jr., just solely because as a Penn State guy, I've watched Billy Edwards Jr. from his time at Maryland and then at Wisconsin. Nothing just stuck out to me as like, this guy can go in and I can trust him, and, I can trust my quarterback to win the game. I never thought that and felt that about Billy Edwards Jr. And now that he's on his third school, North Carolina, and it's just, to put it blatantly, it's a shit show around the program. Like, let's call a spade a spade. All the off the field issues, let alone Bill Belichick is still there. Stephen Belichick, I don't even know if he's going to coach this game on defense because of the off the field issues, the front office issues. Like, aside from that, I am just not believing in this North Carolina team at the moment. Nothing to me is yelling that, like, hey, I think North Carolina is going to compete this season. Now, in the very first game of the season, could both teams come out sluggish and North Carolina keep it close and competitive? Yeah, definitely, without a doubt. I do think that. So give a little teaser of my first pick of this game, under 1,000%. Even if it's only 47.5. 7 of the last 9 games in Dublin have gone under. In the first half, the first quarter, full game under. Like, yeah, holistically under, especially with the weather conditions. Going to be like 20-mile-an-hour winds, light sprinkles. So remember the Iowa State-Kansas State game last year? It looked like crap on the field. I expect that again this year. If I had to lean aside right now, again, I am picking TCU just solely because I give them an edge at quarterback. Jordan Dwyer, I think, is one of the most underrated receivers in the Big 12. I think he doesn't get enough credit. He was all Big 12 honoree last year. So I think TCU holistically has a lot more going for them. And, of course, the coaching edge. I fully back Sonny Dykes right now, even though he wasn't the best person, especially after the whole Josh Hoover situation and the comments he made. I do think he's a better coach right now than Bill Belichick, and I think that staff has a chip on their shoulder, especially with the new offensive coordinator coming in from UConn, whose name is escaping me right now. But I think TCU holistically has a lot more going for them right now, and I think the Horned Frogs, I don't know if I get there with 7.5, but I definitely think TCU wins this game. My favorite pick of the bunch, though, is the under.
Yeah, for sure. You got to take the under in the Ireland game. It's going to be nasty and sloppy as it always is. But that's another reason why I think TCU pulls out. I think if it's a slugfest, I think TCU's got more power to win that type of game. So
Definitely.
I think first half, it could be a little bit closer than people might think. Defensively, TCU, they did take a hit at linebacker. There was some turnover in the secondary. The defensive line should be good, but I could see Bobby Petrino having a couple just things up his sleeve early on where they're trading blows in the first half. I'll make my pick unless you want me to hold it here.
Go ahead, my friend.
Give me TCU to win and cover. I like the first half under total, but otherwise TCU to win and cover the spread.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I think they win and cover the spread. My model slightly favors North Carolina, like literally barely slightly, like wouldn't touch the bet with the 10-foot pole. It's kind of what it's saying because it reads the same line basically. But yeah, I'm taking TCU to cover personally.
Over a 7-point line, you're taking that?
Yeah, I think so. I think they'll find a way. You know, they'll score a touchdown, kick a field goal or something like that, and win by 8 to 10 points, I think.
Yeah, I'm with Mike. First half under, definitely. Even can I get a first quarter total? Yeah, you're getting under 9.5 at plus money. I mean, I could see this game go like punts the first 2 drives for each team, and then it's kind of just whoever can get out of the first quarter unscathed. I mean, even the second quarter, like, I would just ladder unders every quarter, honestly, with the full game under. Like, yeah, this game is going to stink. Maybe I think TCU runs it up again on them, but under definitely in this game. So all the boys on TCU. Next game on the slate, we have the first ranked team. TCU was receiving votes. Virginia was receiving votes, but we have the first ranked team on the slate. We have the San Jose State Spartans going on the road to the USC Trojans. USC is a massive 38.5-point favorite. 60.5 is the total, and the LFTG Performance Index likes USC minus 35.5. So it slightly is leaning towards San Jose State to cover the number. AT, I will go to you first on this matchup. Is USC able to cover? Is Jaden Mayava playing all 4 quarters? Does Lincoln Riley run it up on Kenya Montoloa's boys?
You really hope Jamie Alva's not playing all 4 quarters. I mean, if they are, I feel like they're struggling because, I mean, you just don't – there's no reason to get him hurt in this game, you know. I think we'll get to see a lot of these true freshmen that we've been talking about that they've been bringing in their high school recruiting class. I think they're the tight end is their starter. Bowman, is that his name? You know what I'm talking about? The big tight end they got out of high school.
The
I know
freshman?
they have a true freshman tight end starting this year.
Mark Bowman, yeah.
Mark Bowman, yeah, okay, yeah. And so that'll be exciting to watch. Also pumped to see the Gary Patterson defense in action. That's really the biggest takeaways for me is we'll get to see a true freshman tight end, and we'll get to see Gary Patterson's, kick the defense off. I think USC blows them out. Obviously, don't have a ton to say about San Jose State. I think it's just a tough opener for them. I think the game is going to be somewhere around 52-14, saying USC smokes them, but does not cover the spread. They're going to be right there. If it's a 38.5 spread, I think they win by 38, basically. So
wow,
that's where I'm at.
So Lincoln Riley USC teams since 2023 have outscored group of 6 programs by an average of 45.4 points. And this is playoff or bust for Lincoln Riley, right? Like a lot of
True.
Yeah.
most think that he'll be gone if they're not in the CFP. I think they're just going to come out firing. I mean, San Jose State, they were bad last year. They could be worse this year. It's more so in this game what I'm looking forward to seeing, and that's who's the go-to wide receiver for Jaden Mayava? Who is he targeting? So there's Tanook Hines, Zacharias Williams, Terrell Anderson comes from NC State. There's that freshman Caden Dixon Wyatt, could be someone else. Maybe all the above are bringing in targets. On the defensive side, edge rusher Luke Waffle, freshman out of New Jersey, could see him making some impact plays early on. I think USC pours it on. They pull the starters in the second half. I'll take the 38.5. I think that's the line,
okay.
right? I'll take it. USC covers and wins.
Yeah, just an absolutely loaded roster, and their wide receiver core is crazy.
Oh, I mean, yeah, talent-wise between these two teams, it's not even comparable. It's really just if you can project San Jose State getting 1 or 2 touchdowns to hopefully, cut it a little bit short, especially if USC ends up putting all the freshmen and the walk-ons in by the start of the fourth quarter. When I look at this game, the total at 60.5 catches my eye just solely because for the point I just made, if you're hoping San Jose State can get 10, 14, 17 points against the fourth stringers for USC during the fourth quarter, that's probably the angle you want to go. You could even go the angle of USC just runs it up on them, just solely because to make a statement. Gary Patterson's first game as defensive coordinator, wants to hopefully retain a shutout if possible, to truly make a statement. But to Mike's point, Lincoln Riley loves running it up on anyone and everybody, no matter who they are, what level of football they come from, especially when it gets to the fourth quarter. He is not just going to run the clock. They are trying to score and set the record for the most points scored in a college football game ever. So, I like USC with the points. I'm not going to officially take it. If I had to take anything, I would take the over 60.5. I would even lean, if it's here on Onyx, not a correct score, team total. Here we go. If you could get USC team total at even money to score 50 or more points, that's probably my favorite play on the entire board, USC to score 50 or more, because I could see like 52-10 potentially. Then both of these would hit in that instance. So I think USC runs it up. Gary Patterson makes a statement in week 1, and this defense looks dominant, but of course it is San Jose State. And I think Kenya Montaloa could potentially be on the hot seat by the end of the season. Not going to call that shot right now, but I definitely think his seat is warming up, in my opinion.
Yeah, I guess the one wild card, Gary Patterson, new defense, are they a little sloppy to start? Are there adjustments? But, I mean, inferior opponent, I'd like to think they're going to hold them to less than 10 points. But, it is the first game, so you never know.
Yeah, because you have to think that San Jose State is going to run like that veer and shoot, 4 wide verticals. Like they're gonna chuck it down there, and they don't have the benefit of having Danny Scudero on their team this year. So who really is like that number 1 playmaker for San Jose State this year? That's a question to be answered hopefully here.
Yeah, that's a lot.
All right, they're gonna need it. They're gonna need it. Let me tell you that. But boys, again, as we prefaced in the open, we're going to NC State and Virginia, and we wouldn't be able to do that if it wasn't possible for the sponsors of the show tonight. Onyx Odds, of course, all the odds provided on the show are from Onyx. Also, if you want to get a beautiful cap like I'm wearing right now, you can check out No Rivals with code CFB Red Zone, gets you 10% off your purchase. They have tons of teams over there. Unfortunately, don't have Virginia right now, but they do have NC State. They got Penn State. They got your Mississippi State Bulldogs, AT, if you're even interested in that. So shout out to the sponsor of the show, No Rivals and Onyx Odds. Appreciate them as always. But as we continue on here, boys, we have to get moving on to the first ever FBS game in the Fargo Dome. We have Jacksonville State traveling up to North Dakota State. This is a 4:00 kick on CBS Sports Network. The boys from Fargo are laying 7 points, actually, against Jacksonville State, who ended up playing in the Conference USA title game last year. And if I can find my graphic, there it is. Thank you. Again, North Dakota State, 7-point favorite. Total is around 46.5. And the LFTG Performance Index likes North Dakota State even more, all the way up to 9 points. So, AT, I'm going to start with you here. What do you think of the Bison? Do they make a statement in their first ever FBS game?
Yeah, I mean, I'm pumped for this game to start off. The Fargo Dome is awesome. It's electric. I'm glad that it's getting a little mainstream audience now. Everyone should know about it. It's kind of my thought process. Definitely got to get up there and see a game at some point. One of the coolest, one of the most unique venues we have. Them and UTEP and App State, I think, are kind of three of the ones that are, the smaller schools that have really, really cool campuses and really, really cool stadiums as well. But to talk about the team a little bit, this one's tough for me because, last year I'm saying Jack State is absolutely going to wipe the floor with NDSU when they have Cam Cook and the offense that they're running. But I just don't really know what to say about them this year. I really like North Dakota State. I do like that Jack State's bringing Caden Krill back. Obviously, he's kind of a very dual threat, very run-heavy quarterback. I think he rushed for just about the same amount as he passed last year, so we can expect some more of that. It's going to be tough. Running back Jalen Likely is who they got right now. Obviously, a big step down, but I feel like he was there last year and they liked him. So he kind of got the starting job and won it. So, offensively, Jackson State's kind of a question mark for me, but I do feel like we're going to get to see some explosive plays coming out of those two guys. North Dakota State, they kind of got a pocket passer and Nathan Hayes, and so I expect to see them try to air it out a little bit there. Excited to watch him play, and like I said, really excited to watch the game in Fargo Dome. My model's got Jacksonville State slightly covering the spread, but it does like NDSU to win, and I do too. I think they're going to win by about 5 to 7 points. I'm taking the under on the point spread, but I'm also taking North Dakota State to win the game. So, and I guess I gave my picks too early there, boys. Sorry.
You're just jumping the gun. You're excited to watch the Fargo Dome's first ever FBS game.
I'm freaking pumped, dude. I'm pumped about all of it. Just any football in general, but
Mike?
So college game day should be in Fargo, by the way. It's a crime that there's no college game day week here, but it should be at the Fargo Dome. On the bright side, or maybe not the bright side, Brian Kelly will be in the booth for this one for CBS.
Boo. Boo.
Look forward to that. Jacksonville State.
Wait, hold on. I'm sorry to cut you off, Mike. But who asked for Brian Kelly's AI using wannabe? Who asked for him to be in a booth? No one.
The real question is, what accent does he use in North Dakota? That's the real question.
He probably won't even be speaking. He'll probably get like ChatGPT to be talking for him because he used AI to improve his tactics, his coaching philosophy.
Didn't do it for him.
If we're talking best bets, let's set a line for the number of times he says Notre Dame. I'll set the line at over 5.5 because I think he's on a rehab tour, so he's going to talk a lot about the Notre Dame days. But that's just a side.
I'm banging over on that.
On to the game. Jacksonville State, they're no joke. I think they're looking to make their third straight Conference USA title game this year if they could pull that off. They should be competitive in that league. North Dakota State, I just love the spot for them. It's going to be electric in the Fargo Dome. This team was number one in the nation in downfield passing. They were averaging like 16 and a half yards per completion last year. Number three in scoring, 12th in total offense. The offense is just efficient, rarely turns the ball over. They typically control time of possession. Now, Cole Payton is gone. So Nathan Hayes steps in. So obviously big shoes to fill. But on defense, I think the Bison were top in the FCS in both total and scoring and defense, and allowing just 252 yards and 13 points per game. So I think this is just a prime spot, huge opportunity to make your FBS debut. I'll take North Dakota State and the points.
Spoiler alert, I am also going with Mike. I mean, it's the Fargo Dome. Like, how can you not go with the Bison? I mean, what is it? 10 of the last 13, I want to say, FCS championships North Dakota State won. Like, yeah, I think this is the game. I'm not going to say they run it up on Jack State, but I definitely think they come prepared for the moment. I want to say North Dakota State is going to impose a physical type of football. I mean, the boys from North Dakota, I mean, all they get in North Dakota State is farm grown North Dakota, South Dakota, Iowa, Idaho, like just purebred farm boys, and they're going to want to run the football. North Dakota State, I think they impose their will here. I will also take North Dakota State with the points, minus the 9.5. I think they get there in the end. I'm projecting a 27-17 win for North Dakota State. Of course, that is a big question, though, that you guys both mentioned. Nathan Hayes, how does he look in his first true start here for North Dakota State? I like the Bison here. Again, at home, the Fargo Dome is one of the best environments in the FCS. I think that translates here to the Mountain West eventually, but in their first game, I think North Dakota State wins and covers the 7. Would like it more if it was at 6.5 to get that football number, but I will take the 7 here with North Dakota. Any other thoughts on this game, plays in this game, stuff we're looking out for? Does Caden Creel make a statement here? Potentially.
Excited to watch him. I mean, if he takes a step up on the arm talent side of the ball, then yeah, he could be a real danger. We could be talking about him at the end of the season for sure.
Mike, any more thoughts?
The line I was looking at was 7 and a hook. So glad you got -7 there. I feel even better about it.
Shout out to Onyx. Shout out to Onyx. Getting the 7 there.
Yeah.
That is always important if you are looking from a betting perspective on football games. Moving to another team, huh?
That's a huge deal. 7 versus 7.5. That's a game-changing line right there.
Yeah. If it was 7.5, I might take Jack State. I might taken Jack State with the points, low key. But I think NDSU gets there in the end to cover. Moving on to the other debut team making their debut in the FBS this season, we have the Sacramento State Hornets traveling all the way over to Eastern Michigan for, guess what? A conference game.
Maction.
We get Maction in week 0. We get Sac State heading on the road to Eastern Michigan. The line is currently Eastern Michigan all the way up to a 10-point favorite. The total is sitting at 52.5, and the LFTG Performance Index is perfectly aligned with the current betting lines. Eastern Michigan -10. Mike, I will come to you first. What do we want to make of the Hornets, their first game at the FBS after buying their way up to this level of college football?
Yeah, first off, it's incredible that Sacramento State is in the MAC. They're at the FBS level. I just love everything about it. The sport is so silly, but it's the best. So where do I start? Eastern Michigan. Their quarterback, Noah Kim, former Michigan State Spartan, also Coastal Carolina, is a guy that has experience. So can Sacramento State come up with a defensive game plan against an experienced quarterback? Offensively, the Hornets, they should be able to run the ball a bit. They're going against, though, an Eastern Michigan team that brings back an experienced group. Speaking of Eastern Michigan, when Noah Kim is leading that offense, he's had a lot of success versus like a non-existent pass rush and very inexperienced secondary, and that's something that could ultimately be fruitful for Eastern Michigan. I can give you my pick. I can hold off, but those are just my initial thoughts, and it's unbelievable that Sacramento State is at this point.
That was
Yeah,
a good. That was a good teaser right there. I like that.
Great teaser. Yeah, great teaser. And Sac State somehow got just absolutely fleeced by a consulting firm. I know Reed and I talked about it some earlier in the year, but they I don't know what was going on with that, but they were told that they were going to make 200 million in 10 years or something in the MAC, or in 5 years. It was some crazy valuation. So they got absolutely fleeced. And they spent a lot of money, and they're spending a lot of money to be in this conference right now. I'm not going to hate it. It just means more football, more action for us. So,
Yes.
if y'all want to spend money to give me more football to watch, please do it. Not a ton to talk about. I know Sac State's bringing in a lot of transfers. Not a lot of longevity on their roster right now. I think on both sides of the ball, they've got more transfers than they do returning players. It's going to be an interesting season for them. They're not like an NDSU, or they're just known for dominating in the FCS. This is kind of a decent team. So it's going to be interesting to see them move up and transfer into this level. It's also crazy that they're traveling 2,200 miles for this game. So it's going to be tough on them. It's really hard. They're not only they moved up to a new level, not only is it a fresh new roster, they're having to travel across the country to go play football in the first week without having any of the kinks worked out. So I think it's going to be a tough game for them. Obviously, we yet again don't know a ton about this Eastern Michigan team. They got more longevity. I think they've got 10 guys coming back on defense from last year. I do like Noah Kim a lot. I know you mentioned him, Mike, but we know more about Eastern Michigan, and I expect a lot from him this season. But still, we haven't seen him play yet. So not to spoil my outcome, but I do like Eastern Michigan this year, and I think that they've got a big home field advantage being 2,280 miles away from the team that's traveling to them. So,
yeah, I'm going to keep this one short and sweet. You can take the baseline at 10. Where is it here? You can take the alt lines of 11.5, 12.5, and 13.5. I think Eastern Michigan wins by 2 touchdowns. Again, you're asking the team to play their first FBS game 2,000 miles away, time zone. You look historically at teams at any level of football traveling 2 or more time zones. It does not fare well for them. And I mean, aside from No Kim, quarterback edge, there's just a coaching staff edge here too. You're asking Chris Creighton, who's going into his 13th year being the head coach at Eastern Michigan, against Alonzo Carter, making his first ever head coach appearance for Sac State. I mean, there's just a coaching edge, time difference, quarterback edge. The only thing I could see hold back Eastern Michigan is the weaponry around Noah Kim. They're having to replace a lot of production on that side. They bring in Virginia Tech transfer Braden Bennett, Malachi James, Joey Mattard, expected to be the bulk of the workload there out of the backfield. So if that potentially doesn't get off to a hot start there for Eastern Michigan, I definitely could see this game being a little closer than expected, but I think Eastern Michigan comfortably wins this game in the end. I think Sacramento State again, they bought their way up to the FBS level. I think that shows here in this first game, and it will continue to show itself over the course of the season. I like Eastern Michigan here comfortably to win here against Sac State. Unfortunately, sorry, Sac State. Not the debut that you get like your brother North Dakota State. Yeah, Eastern Michigan here comfortably.
Agreed.
So those are all great points. I can't argue those as far as Eastern Michigan is concerned. The one thing I keep coming back to is that Sacramento State, I feel like they could have a nothing to lose mentality in this game. They've arrived at the FBS level. They're going to go ball out, trick play here, aggressive 4th down play there. You mentioned Alonzo Carter's, first game, Sacramento State coming over from Arizona. I'll have Eastern Michigan winning. I think Sacramento State covers the, what do we have it at 10? So give me Sac State plus 10.
Hey, it's got to be someone. It won't
right.
be me. It won't be me. You're an Alonzo Carter believer.
For now, at least. They haven't wore the green for Eastern Michigan.
For one game. For one game, we're believing.
We could change this after Saturday, like on the flight home Sunday. No more. Who knows?
Hey, it also could benefit because Carson Conklin was at Sac State a few years ago. Been around the program.
Sorry.
So, hey, could play their benefit potentially. So with that being said, though, we're going to go to another potential massive blowout. It's another G6 team against another Power 4 opponent. The New Mexico State Lobos on the road in Tallahassee to take on the Florida State Seminoles. I will have no official play in this game, and I'm not touching this game with the 10-foot pole because this is a true stinker. But if I had to take anything, I'm not going to preface this game. This game is going to stink. Florida State by 1 million.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, I mean, we're probably all down on Florida State. What I'm looking to see, I guess I want to see Ashton Daniels debut. Expect a monster day out of Deuce Robinson.
Deuce.
There's just a lot of negativity around Florida State, but whether it's New Mexico State or the School of the Blind, I mean, Mike Norvell is going to want to come out and make a statement in this first game. They scored 66 on Kent State, was it last year, and 77 on East Texas A&M. So I expect something similar. We're going to learn a lot more about Florida State in like 8 days after when then SMU comes to town.
Yeah.
Big deal for FSU, though. You make a good point, Mike. Something I was going to bring up. They want to dominate at home in this game to build some hype for that SMU game, and they get SMU at a perfect time because FSU gets their warm up game against a no name, a team they should dominate without having to open the playbook, and then they go play a really good ACC team. So they should be excited about this. I think FSU kills them. It's exactly what you said. We just want to see what Ashton Daniels can do. Hearing a lot of great things out of him in spring. But we heard a lot of great things out of Tommy Castellanos, too. We heard a lot of great things about DJU as well. So I'm not buying into the hype until we get to see him play. But FSU should dominate this game at home at night. No reason they don't cover the spread. So,
if you were potentially looking at this game to bet as a degenerate, not saying that from me personally by any means, but if you want to look for something in this game, I would prefer Usman Chroma, the projected starting running back for Florida State. Of course, Trey Wisner ended up transferring there from Texas, but Chroma has performed well throughout fall camp and is projected to be the starting running back for Florida State, it looks like. So I like him laddered up all the way. His baseline is 79.5, 89.5, 100 plus, I think is a good line there, especially you're getting nearly plus 200 for 100 plus yards. I think Florida State comfortably wins and covers. This is similar to USC. USC San Jose State we have more questions about Florida State than New Mexico State. Tony Sanchez, I'm fully out on holistically this season. So, Mike Norvell needs to make a statement, especially with SMU coming to town, their second game. Florida State needs to make a statement here. So, Seminoles by 1 million. Unfortunately, sorry, Tony Sanchez. Had to get a bag to go to Tallahassee to get blown out. But moving on to the second to last game, in a game that actually has a lot of potential here. One of the week 0 stunners, I'd say, from last year, the Hawaii Rainbow Warriors making the trip to the mainland to take on the Stanford Cardinal. Stanford is a slight 4-point favorite, total at 48.5, and the model likes Stanford along with the books at 4.5. AT, I will come to you first. We love Mike Alejado at quarterback, but he is not with his number one receiver right now. So what do we have to look out for with this Hawaii Rainbow Warriors team?
Man, absolutely crazy that Stanford's only a 4-point favorite. Being just not only being a P4 team versus G6 team, but being where they were, a decade ago. This was unconceivable. I think it's cool that Andrew Luck's back in the general manager role. I think that'll be awesome. Obviously he's got a lot of buy-in. He can generate revenue for the team because there's a lot of Stanford guys that love Andrew Luck, So, but it's tough for me to call this game. I mean, my model's the same way as yours. It's got Stanford favored. I like Micah Alejado a lot. I actually think he's probably the best quarterback in this game. I think he's a really good QB. Like Timmy Chang a lot as well, and think he's going to, what he's kind of building over there. I think Hawaii's going in the right direction. Complete rebuild for Stanford, as it felt like it was last year as well. I'm just hoping that they can start kind of moving some pieces together to look like a good team. Their entire defense was there last year. So all of their starting 11 were guys that remained on the team, which I think is a huge deal in today's sport. They're not bringing any transfers. It's a lot of guys that have been in the locker room together and know each other. So that is a plus for me on Stanford. But honestly, I've got a lot of questions on defensively and offensively for them, and really don't know what to think about it. This is one of the games that I'm excited to watch because I feel like I got a lot of high hopes for Hawaii, and I'm a little nervous about what Stanford's going to look like. So this could be another easy upset for Hawaii here, but I do have Stanford winning and covering the spread here. So,
Mike.
So Hawaii should be one of the contenders in the Mountain West and a potential college football playoff contender. I really believe they could be that good. Timmy Chang teams have struggled a bit on the road. It's not easy to travel from Hawaii for every road game. That's 4,000 miles or beyond. This isn't the midseason though. This is the very first game. So Hawaii is, I would say, the more settled team. Micah Alejado just slings it everywhere. I know he's missing his number one receiver, but the guy is a stud. He's just going to throw it all over the field. Curious if Hawaii can run the ball. Not sure if that's really something they're going to rely on too much anyway, just from how this offense is built. You mentioned the quarterback matchup. So Stanford is going with Davis Warren. That guy's been around the block. Michigan transfer. He spent 5 years in Ann Arbor and missed last year coming off of a torn ACL in the ReliaQuest Bowl. So he's making getting his first real action in almost 2 years here. So does that offense start a little slow? Are they playing from behind? One thing about last year's game that Hawaii did win, Stanford did control that game on the ground and went 8 for 17 on third down. So could they have a performance that's replicated like last year? I like Hawaii in this game to win outright. Give me the Rainbow Warriors.
Don't hate it. I don't hate it. It would not surprise me, to be honest, to be completely fair.
Yeah, without a doubt. I would not be surprised if Hawaii went onto the farm and won again this year against the Cardinal. I think I'd have to go with the total here, actually. I'm not going to lean aside here. I think that's too short of a line. I actually like the over. I like 48.5. I think both teams are going to be able to put up points. Stanford, I think, is going to want to establish the run with Micah Ford at running back. I think they're going to want to establish physicality holistically on both sides of the ball in this game. I think they believe that they will have a physicality edge over Hawaii in this game, especially with the edge that they lost a very close game last year to the kicker who's not there anymore. He was a foreign student, right? Yeah. For Hawaii, yeah.
Hawaii, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yep.
Yeah. So heartbreaking fashion last year. I think Stanford has that on their mind. I do agree with the points that I think Hawaii has a quarterback edge here, but again, without Pefele Ashlock, the number one target for Mike Alejado, I have questions on the receiver room behind him. I have honestly questions around that offense beside Ashlock. So kind of a wait and see position on Hawaii here holistically going forward, especially if we don't know how long Ashlock's going to be out at running back. Has some questions. I know Cam Barfield is back at running back. So, not a ton with this Hawaii offense that I'm really liking as of right now in this first game of the season. So I'm going to stay away from the side. I like the total 40.5. I think both teams are going to be able to put up points. And I think both these defenses are kind of, I'm not going to say sluggish, but I think there's definitely holes they can exploit early in the season here in this first game. So I like the 49 plus points here in this game.
I like it.
All right. And the final game of week 0, and we get a classic 10 p.m. kick on Fox. We have the Memphis Tigers of the American Conference going out to Las Vegas to take on the UNLV Rebels. Probably the most anticipated game of week 0. I mean, this is a massive G6 contender bout between the Tigers and the Rebels. UNLV is a 5.5 point favorite, total at 56.5, and the model is aligned with UNLV. They're -6. Mike, I will come to you first. What do you have thoughts wise on this G6 battle between two contenders for the G6 spot in the playoff?
could could be the G6 game of the year. Certainly has CFP implications. Not in love with Dan Mullen going with two quarterbacks. I was really hoping that, or really banking on Jackson Arnold winning the job quite easily. Obviously, that hasn't happened. So sounds like we're going to see him and Alex Orji both get playing time. Mullen is a quarterback whisperer, so I'll give the benefit of the doubt. He also did that last year in the first game with Anthony Calandria and Alex Orji both playing in week 0 against Idaho State, I think it was. So there is a precedent there. On the other side, it sounds like Memphis may have a starting quarterback but hasn't named it yet. At least I haven't seen. So who's it going to be? It's Charles Huff's debut at Memphis. I really like Charles Huff as a head coach. He did a great job at Marshall and his 1 year at Southern Miss. What intrigues me is Memphis on defense. Charles Huff brought over, quite a few guys via the transfer portal, but including his 2 best guys from Southern Miss. I think that could be a difference maker in this game, especially if the quarterback play is a little bit up in the air for UNLV. I'm going both ways here. I have a pick, but I'll wait to hear what you guys have to say first.
Yeah, it's tough for me. This is another game that, first off, totally agree with what you said, Mike. Maybe the G6 game of the year right here. Outside of the game that we're going to, I think this is going to be the best game to watch on Saturday.
Yeah.
I feel like we got the cream of the crop matchup, but I think this is going to be the game to watch that night. I'll definitely be up late in Charlottesville. I'm sure we'll be having a couple brews at that point. It's going to be an early morning flight for me on Sunday, but I'm going to be enjoying it all the same. So, I agree with what you said. I think it's tough that Jackson Arnold and Alex Orji are in a battle right now. I was really expecting Jackson to kind of take the lead there. Seems like a pretty typical Dan Mullen-esque strategy. He's done this a time or two, even when he's had some really good QBs. I think he did it at Florida that first year, and I'm drawing a blank on who he ended up going with, but he had a QB battle when everyone knew it was going to be the one guy. And yet again, I'm drawing a blank on who those QBs were at the time, but seems like some similar Dan Mullen, type strategy to pull the competition out of Jackson. I could be wrong. There really could be a battle, and Orji might end up taking the helm. But I was expecting a little bit more out of Jackson coming in this team. Obviously, they revamped their offensive line. There's a lot of questions around UNLV. I agree with what you said, Mike. Dan Mullen is a quarterback whisperer. He's going to get the most out of these guys, and I think that he's a really good play caller for this level of play. He's good at picking these type of defenses apart. I do agree with what you said about Memphis, though. It's tough. In Huff, we trust. I'm a big Charles Huff guy. He's a heck of a recruiter, always has been at every stop he's ever made. He brings in a lot of talent. He brings in physical guys. Every team that you ever watch Charles Huff, if anything about his team, they're going to be physical. And that could be that wins games in week 0. If you have a team that can just out physical the other one, you can easily win a game in these type of sloppy, games where we don't have a lot of film on the other guys and we're still working out the kinks. So the biggest question mark, though, is they bring in 53 transfers. No one on this Memphis team was there last year for the most part, but most of them played together at Southern Miss, so that's a huge plus for those guys. Yet again, going to be a super exciting game to watch. I'll hold off on my pick as well. I've got to lean a certain way in this game, and I do like the game being in Las Vegas, but I'll let Reed go and see where he ends up.
Yeah, and AT hit the nail on the head with this final point there about the overturn at Memphis. 72 new players holistically on this roster between transfer and high school. So a lot of continuity that needs to be built on this Memphis roster. I trust Charles Huff in the long run to get it done. They haven't officially named a starter. I agree with you, Mike. I haven't seen anything officially posted, but if it makes you makes you lean aside, they do have Marcus Stokes lined up for Memphis. So
they have him. They do have Stokes first on their depth chart. I did look at that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if that's anything to go by, the 30 touchdown, nearly 3,300 yard quarterback transferring from West Florida, Marcus Stokes for the Memphis Tigers. So, I mean, quarterback battle is fascinating between Arnold and Orji for UNLV and then Marcus Stokes for Memphis. I mean, both teams are going to be able to air it out, I believe. This sounds like straight up football / coach speak. I think the turnover battle is going to decide this game between you get 2 new quarterbacks between Jackson Arnold and Marcus Stokes for their respective teams, new offensive systems for both of them. Who's going to be able to hold on to the football? I mean, at a better rate, honestly, between the two teams. Obviously, Jet Thomas is going to be the one to watch for UNLV. 1,100-yard rusher for them last year, was a stud, all Mountain West running back. So, I mean, he's really the one I'm looking out for. If I had to play something in this game from a player prop perspective, I like his rushing lines. 89.5, you're getting plus money. I kind of would bump it. I probably would just bump it down to 79.5, 80 plus yards, 123. You're getting good value there. So, but from a side, I'm going to have to go UNLV with the points, especially now prior to making this graphic, it's bumped down to 4.5. So I like it even more. UNLV to win by 5 or more. I like it. They get the statement win at home to open up the season, and Dan Mullen gets a good start to the season.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
So, Reed, you brought up, I think, the key point on what's ultimately deciding my pick here, and that's the turnovers or potential turnovers. Under Charles Huff last year, Southern Miss in 7 games took the ball away 3 or more times. So 3 or more turnovers in 7 games. Most of that defense, or most of the stars on that defense, are now with Memphis, and they picked off they had 23 interceptions last year. They are now on the Memphis defense. I think that's the difference. I'm going to take Memphis to win this game.
Outright.
Charles Huff debut.
Wow. Is that why Danny Boy's scared to put Jackson Arnold in? He's worried he's going to throw too many picks.
If you would have asked me this just like a couple days ago, I would have said UNLV, no doubt. I've come a long way. I'm now in Memphis. What's crazy with UNLV, week 2, they go to Hawaii. So another monster G6 game.
See, I'm maybe too hype on UNLV. Put them in my playoff. So they got to win this game. I mean, UNLV has to win.
Hey, that's standing on business, man. You're standing on business.
I'm standing on business. That's right. They win and cover. So that's it for me.
All right, boys. Well, again, that is the whole entire week 0 slate. I will get a graphic out sometime later this week with all of our picks from the show. But we have one more topic to discuss tonight, and that's what we're going to end every single show with throughout the season this year, and that is going to be the Sicko Game of the Week. Of course, as college football sickos, and everyone watching right now is probably a college football sicko as well. College football is back. And that means any type of college football that is on, turn it on. You're going to get some action. You're going to get some conference weekday CUSA coming up here in a few months and a few weeks. But, we get FCS football starting on Thursday. So you get the pick of the lot here. Sicko Game of the Week. What should the people be watching? Mike, I'm going to start with you. What do you have your eye on for this week 0 slate?
I'm going Saturday, 7 p.m. Eastern. Monmouth at Tennessee Tech as my Sicko Game of the Week. So soft spot for Monmouth. They're in my backyard. Their football stadium is less than a mile from the beach. So cool place to go see a game. But Monmouth last year, they went 9-3. They were one of the first 4 out of the FCS playoffs. Now, longtime coach Kevin Callahan, he just retired after spending more than 3 decades there. Jeff Gallo, a guy that played at Monmouth. He's coached there since 2005. He takes over as head coach. The guy to watch, Monmouth running back Rodney Nelson. He was the 2025 CAA Offensive Player of the Year. He led the FCS in all-purpose yards, and he had over 30 receptions, and is just a threat in the backfield. Tennessee Tech, number 15 in the FCS preseason poll. Monmouth, number 23. Tennessee Tech's star player should be MJ Flowers, a transfer from UConn on the Tennessee Tech team. So excited about that game. Monmouth is an underdog, I believe, by 7.5. I'm picking the Hawks to win outright. Go Monmouth.
I love it. I love it. That is why we have this segment, exactly for that whole segment right there. AT.
We got to get some pictures of you at one of those games this year. Got to go. I mean, if it's in your backyard, Mike, you got to get to is it Monmouth is close to you or the other team?
Monmouth.
Okay, cool. Yeah. Got to
walk across the street.
Pretty much.
There's a lot for me. A lot of fun games to watch. So much FCS football on. It's overwhelming. There's so many teams. Youngstown State Penguins. I was leaning their way because I don't know if you guys have ever seen their logo. Absolutely love it. That's
Yes.
literally why I like them. I think they got one of the best logos in all of college football, FBS included. But I'm gonna lead with Austin Peay, the Governors. I think they got a cool mascot as well. Team that was okay last year, 6-6, right around that. But they've had some good teams. They've had some really good FCS teams. It's also kind of close to home to me. It's only about 3 hours north of me here, so not too far away. It's reasonable. Kind of like the Mississippi Valley Delta State Devils. They're not too far either. So that was another team I was looking at. But it really that's it. Austin Peay's not in my backyard, but they're close enough to get up there. Love the Governor mascot, and I think that this is their year. I think that they're a 14.5-point favorite against the team they're playing. They're gonna cover that and smoke the Gardner-Webb Running Bulls. That's another reason this game's awesome, because you got the Governors versus the Running Bulls. So,
Love it.
Come on.
So I was initially going to go with Sac State Eastern Michigan just because that's Sacramento State's first game. They bought their way. Probably not a lot of people know that Sacramento State is even at the FBS level now. So that was going to be my initial pick, but I'm going to end up going with Stony Brook at Delaware State. And shout out to head coach at Delaware State, Deshaun Jackson. I'm not betting this game. It's just for the graphic purposes. This is what I pulled up. So shout out to Delaware State, Deshaun Jackson. The job he's done there, he's done a pretty good job from the looks of things from afar. So shout out to the Hornets. And that's a good trivia question. Where are they now? Deshaun Jackson, head coach of Delaware State. So shout out to them. They get to take on Stony Brook on Thursday night to kick off the FCS season. But gentlemen, that is going to do it for this first episode of Love for the Game Live. Any more thoughts, concerns, anything for this college football season coming up?
Just excited that we're getting started. We talk real games. We're not talking all the other nonsense, or at least I won't be talking about it. So just excited to get on the field and just watch these teams go at it. And you never know. It's the greatest sport in the world.
No doubt. Can't wait to watch some football this weekend. Lot of fun stuff. Fargo Dome for the first time. I mean, just so many things. But what I'm really ready for is to see you guys in person Friday night. Then we get to go to the game Saturday in UVA in Charlottesville. Can't freaking wait, man. Can't wait.
For sure. And to AT's point, if you are in Charlottesville or are going to be in Charlottesville, let us know what to do, where to go, where to tailgate. We'll be down there Friday night, early Saturday, checking out Charlottesville, seeing all that is to offer on the campus of Virginia. But again, boys, it's been a pleasure. And we will see everyone in Charlottesville again. Red Zone Road Trip, week 0. We will be heading down to Charlottesville, the three of us. But it's been a pleasure, boys. We will catch everyone on Thursday night, where we give an early preview to week 1. But make sure to follow AT and Mike on their respective socials. The handles are right down below there in the banner at Tampa 2 College Football and at More College Football. Gentlemen, I appreciate it. And thank you to our sponsors again, No Rivals and Onyx Odds, for sponsoring the show. We will see everyone same time, same place, Thursday night, 8 p.m. Eastern on all the platforms. We'll see you guys.